We try not to be in the business of making you mad, but tonight we probably will. Not mad at us, mad at the system.
Mad at the law that allowed a man with apparently little regard for the law to continue doing what he'd always done, even encouraging him to do it, even after a woman was dead.
Fox 6 anchor Brad Hicks is in the studio tonight with this disturbing story. Brad?
Yeah, he is just the kind of guy you hope you won't encounter when you get behind the wheel, because unlike your license, which gives you the right to drive, he has a license to kill. Of all the Father's Days,
We all were going to Sun Prairie to Walmart.
there is one Joe Blaschko will never forget.
We were coming up that intersection.
Where Highway 19 meets Town Hall Drive.
I see the car pull up there and stop.
A red Pontiac Sunfire.
And he just gunned it.
Feet in front of Joe's Honda Goldwing.
I remember hitting the car. In the back of my mind, it was over. My head was ripped open up here. It snapped my arm off right here. You'd never believe the pain.
But the damage to his arm is nothing compared to what happened to his heart.
My phone rang. It was a man asking me if I knew Joe Blaschko, and he said that Joe had been in a motorcycle accident. And my first question was, where was my mom?
We drove up to the scene.
And we're running down the street.
The motorcycle in the car and all these people.
And the bike's just in the middle of the road in pieces. I felt like I was dreaming. And then the doctor told us that she was gone.
Wisconsin versus Jesse A. Bergeron.
Behind the wheel, Jesse Bergeron, a three-time drunk driver, a hit and run in his history, a long record.
Mr. Bergeron in person with counsel.
But no driver's license. And the crash wasn't the first time he'd been caught driving revoked.
How fast are you going when you pass me?
He'd been stopped plenty of times for that as well.
Can I see a driver's license, please?
I don't have one.
Here, less than 4 months before the crash that killed Kim Sylvia.
How many breaks are you going to give this man?
20 days for motions.
A good question, because after the crash,
We are adjourned.
He doesn't go to jail. He goes home. You've got somebody that's dead, but they let him go home.
and based on his Facebook posts, the party didn't stop. And Kim Sylvia's death didn't faze him.
Since the day of the accident, it seems like he doesn't care.
For Kim's daughters,
If he could have just waited, then she would still be here.
for Kim's sister,
What would 2 seconds longer of done to stop?
for Kim's sweetheart,
If he would have been driving, it wouldn't have happened.
the question remains, why? Why in that place at that moment? Why was he even behind the wheel?
Lots and lots and lots of people drive after revocation.
If you talk to Jesse Bergeron's attorney, he'll tell you.
But the being revoked had nothing to do with an accident occurring or somebody being hurt or killed.
And in case you think you're hearing things, let's get that again.
There's no connection between the license not being valid and the accident happening.
Except for the fact he shouldn't have been driving. The courts had ordered him not to, repeatedly. Now, if the fact he'd been driving with a revoked license for years makes you mad, if being allowed to go home after the crash upsets you, or if the in-your-face Facebook posts infuriate you, well, then what happened on September 14th, less than 3 months after the crash, will knock you off your feet.
He got his license back.
That's right. Less than 3 months after the accident, the state gave Jesse Bergeron his driver's license back, based on an eligibility date that had been set before 2012.
It was an OWI and a buster revocation.
Before being pulled over in February, before the fatal crash in June. You wonder how
I'm still kind of shocked.
it could happen. Jesse Bergeron sure wasn't going to tell us.
I don't want to talk to you, period.
Even the DA was wondering how he got him back.
So we asked the Dane County District Attorney.
I'm not sure how DOT handles situations where someone is revoked and found driving but not yet convicted.
And over at the DOT, no one there wanted to go on camera. They did say that without a conviction, there really wasn't anything they could do. No grounds not to give Jesse Bergeron his license back. That's the law. And since it took 4 months after the crash to get toxicology results, charges weren't even filed until October.
For Christmas, Joe put up all the decorations.
And at Kim Sylvia's gravesite,
She's got her own tree. Lights up at night.
the Christmas decorations have been slow to come down.
Oh, I miss her.
Endings are hard, and time doesn't heal the hurt.
No, it don't.
Not for a family waiting for an apology.
I wish he could understand how much hurt he's caused so many people.
Waiting for answers.
How did he get his license back?
Waiting for justice.
I want people to realize that you can't just get in a car without a license and there not be consequences.
There's too many people getting away with this stuff all the time.
As of tonight, Jesse Bergeron's trial date hasn't been set. He remains free on bail, driver's license in hand.
But Brad, what about that traffic stop last February where he was driving speeding and driving revoked? You'd think that would at least push the date back to when he could get his license back.
Well, you'd think, but it didn't. It didn't because he pled not guilty. That case then got punted around the Dane County Courthouse for months, delayed hearings, a change of judges, until finally in October, after he'd gotten his license back, the district attorney's office ordered the court to amend the charge from driving revoked down to a simple driving without carrying a license, the same ticket you and I would get if we left our license at home. That happened 1 week before charges were filed for the fatal crash. The district attorney told me the prosecutor who ordered that lesser charge didn't know Jesse Bergeron had been involved in that crash months before.
Which begs a whole series of questions. How do you not know? You found it out. How could they not find that out?
And the
It's
attorney who
public
made
record.
that decision is on a 6-month leave. No answers from him.
You know what? You're right. I am mad, and
I
I
am
think a lot
too.
of viewers are too. Brad.
Gives you chills. It's
It
just,
does,
yeah.
yep.
Yeah. Thank you, Brad. Today's weather, miserable, but there is a cure for the winter blues.
It's very unique. You don't even feel like you're in Milwaukee. You feel like you're up north or something.